Welcome to the Explainer. So, today we're deconstructing what could legitimately be the MetaQuest 3's absolute biggest IP co-op launch of 2026. We're talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Empire City. The hype around this release? It's been completely off the charts. But, does the reality actually match that massive anticipation? Well, we've combed through all the developer diaries, the hands-on previews, the spec sheets, and the community feedback to give you a really clear, structured breakdown of exactly what this experience delivers. Okay, let's dive into this. The game kicks off with just a brilliant narrative hook. Shredder is dead, New York is up for grabs, and it's time to step into the shell. I love that. The Shredder has already been defeated. The game doesn't make you replay an origin story you've seen a dozen times already. Instead, his death has left this massive power vacuum in the criminal underworld of New York City. You've got Karai stepping in from Japan to impose some strategic order on the Foot Clan, and then you have a brand new mystic antagonist named Mashima, who literally just wants to resurrect Shredder's pure chaos. It's high stakes, it's kinetic, and it's completely unpredictable. 4 turtles, 4 players, VR. Just think about that for a second. For 40 years, we've controlled these characters on flat screens, from the old school side-scrollers to third-person action games. But this is the very first time the franchise is putting you fully immersed in a first-person perspective. It's a massive paradigm shift. It's not just about, pushing a button to make Leonardo swing a sword. It's about physically swinging that sword yourself. Section 1, the VR TMNT premiere. To really ground our excitement here, let's transition from the story right into the hard facts of this launch.
So, Empire City officially launches on April 30th, 2026, and the platforms are super accessible. You've got MetaQuest 3, Steam VR, and Pico. But the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that $24.99 base price, which actually dropped to under $20 if you manage to catch the pre-order discounts. In a market where major franchise games are regularly demanding $50 or $60, this is an incredibly aggressive, consumer-friendly price point. It's clearly meant to get as many players into the ecosystem as possible right out of the gate.
Section 2, Cortopia's track record. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is the team actually building this world. We are looking at Cortopia Studios. Now, they're an indie team based in Sweden, mostly known for games like Wands, Down the Rabbit Hole, and Gorn, too. It's a pretty incredible contrast, right? You have a studio deeply experienced in physics-based VR melee and immersive dioramas, now tasked with adapting a 40-year-old globally recognized franchise. It's a really daunting jump in scale. But their pedigree in VR physicality is exactly why they were chosen for a game that literally lives and dies by how its combat feels. Creative director Ace St. Germain actually stated, and I quote, "Empire City isn't about playing one of the turtles so much as it's about being one of the turtles." End quote. That philosophy is literally everything. They wanted to completely move away from rigid, forced classes. Instead, the game is built entirely around personal expression. You aren't just slotting into a predefined role. Through your loadouts, your movement, and your actual physical swings, you get to truly embody the specific turtle that you resonate with most. Section 3, the physicality of ninjutsu. All right, let's really get into the mechanics of embodying the turtles in physical combat. The immersion starts the literal second you load in. As a lot of the previewers noted, you look down and you see 3 large green fingers. You actually see the mass of your shell. It's this wild sensory shift. Cortopia has engineered the weapons to have real physical weight to them. If you've played VR games where you just kind of waggle your wrist to win, yeah, that's absolutely not what's happening here. There's real hit feedback, precision, and actual physical exertion required. And what this brilliantly illustrates is how each turtle fundamentally alters the entire rhythm of the game. Take Donatello's bow staff, for example. You really need two-handed coordination to utilize your superior reach. Compare that to Raphael's twin Sai, where you have to get dangerously close to the Foot Clan to unleash these aggressive flurries. Leonardo gives you these balanced precision katana blocks, while Michelangelo, he requires high-frequency chaotic movement with the nunchuck just to regenerate his focus meter fast. It's brilliant. The combat loop itself is incredibly physical. It's not just button mashing. Step 1, land physical weapon strikes. Step 2, physically cross your weapons to block or parry enemy attacks, and your timing is absolutely critical here. Step 3, as you successfully attack and defend, you build your meter to trigger unique focus abilities. It really requires spatial awareness. You literally have to read the room, duck under incoming attacks, and organically find your openings. Now, to support all that combat, the game uses a really cool gear-based progression system centered right around Donatello's workbench in the sewer lair. As you explore the city, you scavenge for plastic scrap and blueprints. Then, you use those to craft consumables, like smoke bombs for stealth or shurikens for ranged attacks. You can equip ability cubes that grant things like double jumps or health regen. You can even unlock this high-tier rebirth perk that lets you revive once upon death. So it's really a system that lets you build your perfect ninja through gear and loadouts, rather than being locked into a traditional, boring linear skill tree. Section 4. Cross-platform co-op. Family and teamwork are literally the beating heart of the TMNT franchise, which brings us to the multiplayer aspects. Can the VR player base actually support a 4-player co-op brawler? This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, we've all seen so many VR multiplayer games launch, only to quickly die out because the player base is just way too fragmented across different headsets. If you really need 4 people to optimize a brawler, can the current VR ecosystem actually support that? Well, the answer relies heavily on community connectivity. Now, early materials promised a lot of frictionless matchmaking, listing confirmed crossplay across Quest, PCVR, and Pico, an easy 4-digit drop-in code system, and untethered exploration where you can literally split up across the map. But here's the reality. Full crossplay status is actually not fully confirmed yet for all headsets at launch, and that is a massive caveat. Because without flawless crossplay across all boundaries, the fragmented VR community size could severely impact your ability to consistently find a 4-player squad to matchmake with. It's definitely something we're keeping a close eye on. There is also one other neutral caveat you need to be aware of, and that's host-only story progression. Basically, if you join a friend's game, you do get to keep all the experience points, the scrap, and the loot you find. That's yours. However, the story progress is only saved for the host. So if you want to see the ending in your own file, you'll have to replay those story beats in your own solo save. It's a pretty common limitation in VR co-op, but it's just something important to know going in. Section 5, Value and Content. Let's move on and see how this builds to figure out if the amount of content actually justifies the purchase. 5 to 10. That's the number of hours you can expect to spend in the core campaign. Honestly, for $25, getting a highly polished 5 to 10 hour VR story is a really solid value proposition. It sets some realistic expectations. But as you'll see, the game definitely doesn't end when the credits roll. Cortopia actually built a semi-open world New York that extends well beyond just those main missions. The story itself features a branching narrative with 2 possible outcomes, which definitely encourages at least one replay. But beyond that, you've got emergent crimes just popping up dynamically in the open world. You have ninja challenges like rooftop parkour races, basketball minigames, and shuriken darts. And for the completionists out there, there are lore-heavy collectible cassette tapes and scattered chess pieces to find. It's essentially a sandbox designed to keep you and your friends coming back long after the story is over. Section 6. Choose your weapon. We've covered the specs, but wrapping up this deep dive, mastering Empire City really all comes back to your personal choice. So I want to leave you with this question. Which Ninja Turtle would you main in VR and why? Are you taking the disciplined precision of Leo's katanas, or are you embracing the high-speed chaos of Mikey's nunchuck? Understanding your own playstyle is absolutely the key to mastering Empire City. So think about it, visualize the combat, and get ready to step into the shell. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.